Sweet surrender as I love, serve, and remember.
A class through the Zen Center. It's a hybrid class, so I'm online, but there's people at the Zen Center, which is in San Francisco. The class is on the 10 ox-herding pictures, which represent the spiritual journey. We're on ox-herding picture number 6 currently. But one of the things, and I've already talked about it, one of the things that the author of the book, Galen Ferguson, does a practice through every chapter, which is the welcoming exercise. And we did it here a few weeks ago, but it's really nothing. It's like a non-doing exercise. And it's just being fully present with your eyes open to everything that's arising. But you're not judging anything as good or as bad. You're just recognizing. We were talking about it, noticing. You can call it noticing or being aware. And that we're always doing it. Do you remember that for those of you who were here? And then I asked you to stop noticing, and that's pretty much impossible, right? So we're always doing it. We have been our whole life noticing things. We can do it in any moment. We can just stop and notice. Not as a doingness, though, but just as a welcoming without effort. You're not concentrating on your breath. You're not saying, oh, there's a good thought or a bad thought, or I'm planning. You're just noticing. You're just noticing what's arising. And what I have noticed in noticing as he continues to do this exercise throughout the book is just the spaciousness that continues to open up in the moment. That sometimes we get so focused on something, we forget to see the infinite good that is always happening. And what I love is this mirrors and reflects what we teach, our principle, which we talk about every week. There's only one power, one presence, and it's fully present in every moment in time and space. So right here and right now, the infinite good already exists. We're not making the good happen. It's already here. We just need to recognize it. So our prayer, we call them treatments or affirmative prayer, always begins with recognition of that which already is. And so that's all this welcoming exercise is to welcome. It's not just noticing, but welcoming that which already is. And taking away the judgment, it's good or it's bad, it just is. And the more we get into that isness, this is the cool thing about it. That the isness of now actually contains all the past and all the future. It's not limited to even the narrow scope of this particular moment on a Sunday morning in 678 Enos way. It includes all the past, it includes all the future and beyond. That there is the eternal now that we can experience, but we can only experience it now, in the present. And so when we are welcoming it, we're not just welcoming the things of what we see, but all that we don't see. But we can't see it if we don't just stop and welcome it. And this is what really gratitude is, yeah? And I know you all know this. The interesting thing about gratitude is that I think most of us have read about, practiced, heard amazing stories of what the power of gratitude will do to transform something. And I'm just explaining how it's transformed. That if we only are focused on what's wrong, then we're narrowing here and getting narrower and narrower, and we limit possibilities, and things can't happen, and we get stuck and rigid. The more we give gratitude, our hearts open. We open not just because our hearts are open, but we're open to this eternal principle, this infinite principle that is always available to us. And when we are grateful, our hearts are open. So today we want to harvest our good. And one of the things when we harvest our good is sometimes we don't always appreciate it. Like I think all of us, if I were to say, name 5 things that you're grateful for, I'm sure many of you could just like that. I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful for my job, I'm grateful for my health, whatever you're grateful for, you come up pretty quickly. But the question is how deep does that gratitude go, and how deep does it go? Are we just saying words? Like we know we're grateful. It's like I know I'm grateful for my family. I love Jack. I love Julian. Of course I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this community. I'm grateful. But we wanted to take a little deeper. And I want to tell one little story about what brought this to my attention. I'm from Shaker Heights, Ohio, and the high school I went to, and I've mentioned this before, it was a diverse high school. So we had probably half black, half white. We also had a high number of Jewish people. I think we had, the numbers are scattered, but something like 38%. So we had a lot of not diversity, people from all over the world, but between blacks, whites, and Jewish people, which is relatively unusual. And a high level of people who were national merit semifinals, very high driving. So it's an unusual school. And race was something that was talked about. When I was a junior, there was a group of people in my class who I knew them, but I didn't know this. And, well, where do I start with this story? There's so many different starting points. There was a group of kids, and they weren't the popular kids. It was middle school. They were just sort of trying to find their way. And a teacher who was getting his master's in psychology started meeting with them at lunchtime away from the cafeteria. And they started a peer counseling group. And then they got into high school. And the thing about this group was it was mixed race. And they heard someone talk about racism, and they're like, well, that didn't really resonate. So just this group, just talking with each other, decided they wanted to create a program. And they did. And I got to be one of the first people who our class did. And they did it with a class behind us, too. So they taught it, and I still remember. I remember the training to this day. They had the little flashcards. This is what stereotype means. This is what prejudice is. This is what racism is. And we did. And so we went to sixth grade classes because a lot of the separation would happen from elementary school to junior high. So we did also exercises with these sixth graders. And I was shy, but I was so engaged because this is the real stuff here. And so being part of that group is, to me, the highlight of being from that high school. Because it was, what was important. We were talking about important things. And then years later, when I was in LA talking, and someone was explaining to me about the term white privilege hadn't come on, but they were explaining what white privilege was. And they were like, well, it's so amazing you're willing to hear me about this. And I said, well, I just grew up this way. So I'm just saying it's impacted me and how I look at the world. So, what does this have to do with our gratitude in today? There's a woman named Laura Meckler. She's a journalist with the Washington Post, and she wrote a book called Dreamtown, and it was about Shaker Heights. And it came out, I think, last year or the year before. And two of my classmates read it and were inspired because they didn't know the whole story, as none of us did. So they decided to start a podcast, interviewing people who'd gone through our school system and what it was like to grow up in Shaker. And I kept writing them, you have to get this group, the student group on race relations, on your podcast, because these guys are amazing. What they did is crazy. And so I should say, not only did she write a book about it, CNN, PBS, ABC, CBS, any documentary that was on TV about race and academics and integration, every time our high school was on there. So we were constantly in the education news, and this group, student group on race relations, it's still going 40 years later. So these kids just started something. It wasn't the adults who did it. It's kids just sitting around talking, their peer group, and saying, let's do something. And 40 years later, it's still going. I think that's extraordinary. So I was so excited when I saw they were on the podcast. And I'm listening to them, and I'm like, they don't seem very happy. They're fine in life, but just they're like, yeah, we did this. Yeah, mm-hmm. I'm like, wait a minute, this is an incredible thing you've done. Do you understand this? It might have just been you kind of casually were doing this and you thought it was a good idea, and yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's almost like a little bit, as you were singing your song today, Dave, because what I kept hearing was, well, it's not done yet. The work's not done yet. There's still a lot of race issues. There's still things that aren't, and they kept focusing on what hasn't happened yet. And I'm like, can you just stop and appreciate and give incredible gratitude what's been happening for the last 40 years because of you. Nobody else had done this. This is an amazing thing. So I'm like jumping it down in excitement, and they're like, yeah. When we don't acknowledge our own good, it actually impacts other people because our good impacts other people. People are impacted by our good. And if you're like, yeah, it's no big deal. I'm like, no, it's a big deal. So learning to appreciate what we do is an essential part of the journey. It's an essential part of the journey. There is always going to be more work to do. There's always, as long as we're in this world of duality, there's always going to be more work to do in this world of duality. So you can always find what's wrong, and it will be true. But to stop and give thanks for what's right is so important energetically and for each other. You being grateful for your life helps me. It helps open up my heart when I feel your gratitude. If you're just saying, oh yeah, my life doesn't really matter, it's okay, that actually impacts me. I want to hear your beauty because I see your beauty, and I want you to see your beauty because you seeing your beauty helps me enjoy it even more. And this is all I got from the student group on race relations because I felt deflated. I'm listening to them, I'm like, man, I was so excited for these guys. I'm in my head writing something of praise and thanksgiving for who they are and that they need to accept it. But there's another element today I want to focus on. I want to narrow, as much as I want to be infinite, I want to narrow the focus a little bit. Because there's another part of this gratitude, which is our own participation in what the good is in our life. It just didn't happen. It's kind of like we're like, yeah, we did this. No, it didn't just happen. You guys were talking about this for years. You started in middle school, you're having these conversations, you built relationships with one another, and then you're working with your teacher to create this whole training. It didn't just happen. That when we look at the good in our life, it didn't just happen. We co-created it. And I think now more than ever, we have to acknowledge how powerful each and every one of us is. It's not the time to deflect our power. We each have the infinite power of presence working through us. And gratitude is a way to acknowledge and energize that which is real about us. Yeah? Yeah. So one way I want to do that today in harvesting our good, and for some this is going to come easy, others it might be a little challenging. I want you to think about where you were about a year ago. So maybe Thanksgiving of 2023, or the end of the year, 2023, or just going into 2024, so just the beginning of 2024. So basically a year, just sort of seeing this, where you are now from a year ago, or maybe a tiny bit less than a year. And I want you to think about different areas of your life, and I'm just going to name some real quickly just to get your juices going. And I want you to think about, first of all, two things before I say this. You're also going to remember to think of bad things. That's fine. Don't freak out. We all have bad things. We all have negative thoughts. We can release those at the burning bowl in December. So you don't have to, and that's just part of life. The intention today is to focus on the positive. Or I think even something like being curious is a positive thing. So it doesn't have to be just like you think about maybe what do you think about life, and just that questioning would bear fruit. I also want to get away from the idea of measurement. Oh, this was just, I only had like a little tiny thing, and it really doesn't matter. The faith of a mustard seed moves mountains. The entire universe is contained in a single drop of water. This is not about measurement. I love one of the great things about Jesus in the Gospels. He's always trying to mess with measurement. I've become more and more conscious of this. The first shall be last, the last shall be first. The mustard seed will move a mountain. I don't know, I had a whole bunch of other examples, but they just flew out of my head. But there's a bunch of them where he's just playing with measurement because our whole idea of measurement is wacko. So I want to take measurement and comparison. Oh, they've had more stuff than me, or all of that gone, because that does not serve. It's no different than this group constantly thinking, well, we did good, but we have all these other things to do. It diminishes the power of that mustard seed in your life. So even if it's a mustard seed, I want you to give thanks and praise for it. So what I want us to do is to think about various areas of your life, and I'm going to say them really quickly just to get the juices going. And any area where you feel like there's been improvement, what improvement means to you, not to anyone else, where you feel like you've grown in some way in this area, because the principle behind this is, well, even going back to, it's what we think about, right? We say this all the time. What we think about, we become. Where our attention goes, energy flows. And of course, this is what I'm saying. Yes, we have negative thoughts, but to really highlight today the things you've thought positively about in your life. Think about this past year, what you have thought about. Just take a moment and say, what have I thought a lot about this year? What are things that animated my curiosity, animated, or even emotionally got me going? So in that emotional whirlwind, I started really focusing and wanting to learn more about it, have a healing around something. What has that been for you this past year? And from that, what good is now in your life? And even if it's a little good, no measurement, but even if it's just a little good or a big good, doesn't matter. What good is in your life today because you put your mind and your attention on something that was good, that was something that you cared about, something that you valued? Does that make sense to you? You're very quiet. Is that please, clarifying questions? No, you got it? Everyone's good? Okay, good. Oh, good. Oh, I love that. Dave said you're quiet because you're thinking, which is the best. Okay, so I'm just going to just go through them just to get the memory going, and we are going to spend a few minutes in stillness. You have your card there. You don't have to write. I'm just a writer. I write everything down. And just, we don't have time to write paragraphs. Just write a few words about something that you're really grateful for that you've created, something in your job, in your creative expression, financially, in relationships with family, friends, community, colleagues, employers, clients, healthcare workers, anything around service that you've done, spiritually, things that you've grown in spiritually by focusing on spiritual stuff, your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, and all these various areas this past year. Where have you grown? Where is something you see a difference from where you were a year ago to today, and you feel genuinely and profoundly grateful for that growth? Okay?
For me, I think, I have this, a lot of you know, I have this sisters WhatsApp group, and we formed a sisters book club during COVID, and that just continues to grow. And there are so many outrageous books that we've read this year. I'm amazed at the creativity. And so I've started writing some poetry again, which always moves me. So just creativity.
Yeah. Ooh, thank you, Gloria. That's fantastic. Who else would like to share? All right, Lily. Hi. So glad you're sharing.
My family, my job, my mental health.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah. Way to create your good in your world.
Yep.
Love it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing with everybody. All right, Chit. Hey there. You have to say
Hard-
everyone.
hard,
I got you. I
hard
got
for me
you.
to speak, but I'm really grateful for my friend Lenita. We have been friends for a long time. It's like I looked for her. I volunteered for, and then we became friends. But the thing I'm really thankful for is the words of wisdom that she always gives me. She's really a magical person because every time we talk on the phone, she's now in Oregon. No matter the situation is, we always end up laughing. It's just unbelievable how we always have a good laughter. And at the time that I know she was down. Later, she told me the good thing she did is she sent me a banana plant.
A banana plant?
Yeah, and this is when she is down. She does something good to make you happy, and that brings the joy for her. And then after that, we just always have laughter, just for any little silly things. But it's really a joy, and it's really a wonderful, magical friendship that I have with her.
Oh, thank you for sharing that friendship with us. Chit Castro. Oh, hi. There. Laura?
So, to preface this, my daughter has my home on her thing as the crazy cat lady's lair because I've been single for so long, and I was very individualistic. I'm a business owner. I mean, I did everything myself, and then I met him, and I'm very thankful. Our first year was a little it was not really rocky, but it was just, he was going through a divorce, so it was crazy.
Change.
Yeah, and just kind of feeling each other out and trying to figure out, but he's taught me how to be, he teaches me how to be a better person, how to be more patient, how to really know what it's like to be in a partnership. And he makes me a better person, and I love him so much, so very thankful for him.
Oh, we celebrate your good. We celebrate your good. Isn't it good to hear about people's good, Joni?
I have a lot to be grateful for, but what I'm going to talk about is my wonderful relationship of over 26 years now. We've been in love for a long time. We express it to one another on a regular basis. We're both pretty positive thinkers for the most part. But in this last year, many of you know, we eloped and finally got married and made it legal. And there's just this wonderful celebration of the preciousness of what we have. And we'll just connect eye to eye and hold each other's faces. And I'm so grateful for that. And although it's been there a long time, by praising it and recognizing it with each other every single day, it grows and deepens and becomes more and more. And I'm so, so grateful.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What a great example. Thank you, Joni. Happy for your good. Sure.
I have something pretty much the opposite of what everyone said. I grew up in a large family. I got married very young. We immediately had a family of 3 children. We were married for a long, long time. Our children are grown and they have families of their own. And I've always been I've always been a joiner. I've always been a big part of every group that there is. Not just sitting on the periphery, but really throwing myself in full force. And that's brought me a lot of joy in my life and a lot of growth. And the last few years, my husband passed. COVID came along, and between taking care of my husband and COVID, I stepped back, not out of, but back from a lot of these groups that I was involved in. And now I'm getting ready to step out of my second career of more than 20 years now. And this past year, I realized the big big thing that I am grateful for is that I'm learning to be at peace with myself. It's a huge change for me just living by myself. So that's what I'm grateful for.
It's huge. Thank you, Cher. Love it. And I love the spectrum. It can always look different. Thank you. And I'm seeing Cassie. Oh, it's from online. Nice. Do you want to read it?
This is from Beth Stiles online, and she says, I am grateful for my willingness to say yes to opportunities to experience connections with others and expand my good.
Yes. And I've seen that in her life. It's awesome. Anyone else? Dave.
So I'm not going to describe the lines that are on the card. I'm just going to read these lines to you, and they may be self-explanatory. Okay. So I'm grateful for all the encouragement that I receive in the different communities I work with, especially the music community. And I'm grateful for the gifts I've been given. I'm grateful for the beauty of nature. I'm grateful for the ability to support others. I'm grateful for the freedom to be me and to do my thing. And I'm grateful for all that I know and the knowledge I have and I've received and the ability to think.
Ah, I love that. Beautiful. The ability to think. Oh, we have another person. Is it you or someone online? Okay. Nice. We got a twofer.
This is from Therese online. I am grateful for all the great wisdom and inspiration we give and receive from each other. Yay. Well, so my mom passed away, and I was worried about how my brother would deal with it. So I'm grateful he's actually doing really well. And I think a lot of that is because of me. So
Thank you. Because of us. Lynn just happened. Thank you, Lynn. All of us doing your work. Thank you. These are great stories, aren't they? Anyone else? Terry.
I just wanted to say that I'm thankful for creativity, and this summer I made a glass bird bath out of 2 different pieces I found at secondhand stores, and now and I love the birds, and so the bird bath I created last night and are all this week. 5 doves are coming and staying, and it's right in my view in front of my window. And I just get so much peace, and it just feels like the universe speaking back to me. So I love that. I love the birds. I feed the bluebirds and the squirrels also. So anyway, I just love the nature in front of my house, right out my front door. So
That's awesome. I love that. Beautiful. Beautiful. I do too. Anyone else? Rashmi.
So this past year, I started dating, and when I was growing up in my culture, was not allowed to date, got married young, got divorced, which is also kind of something we don't do. Anyway, so what I'm grateful for is my ability to stretch myself, and I have this unending drive to make myself uncomfortable. Don't worry, I don't put myself in unsafe situations. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm so grateful that I'm not focused on an outcome of these relationships. I just am so appreciative that I get to live this life and meet all these people. And I don't care what happens next.
Awesome. Y'all feel this when people this appreciation for what you're doing in your life? Are you feeling that? Do the girls want to share? I didn't mean also you, Sanjani, but I just wanted to see if the girls wanted to share. All right, Shira.
I am grateful for my family, my health, my opportunities, my friendships, and my community.
Wow, that's good. Did you write? Did you write the word opportunities?
Yeah.
Wow, very impressive. Love that. Thank you, Sharon. Sanjani.
Hello, everyone. So I'm going to start with, I am grateful for my husband, Ravi. He's not here today, but 20 years together, and he's just made me a better person. I was a great person before him, but he's made me even better, and I'm grateful for his love and his generosity and for helping me become a mother to these beautiful these girls here. I'm also grateful for my spiritual growth. So we walked into CSL like last year around this time. And in that year, I have learned to believe in myself and my creative growth. I've accomplished projects I'm always thinking about, and my personal growth. And I feel like I'm more in a calm space. I feel more confident that I am a great mom and I am a great wife, that we always struggle, trying to give ourselves credit for. And the past year I've had a rocky relationship with my brother, and I've kind of released the anger and have accepted that I'm in his life to help him raise his children. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, Sanjani. Love that. You want to go up, Anya?
I wrote a lot of things, so I'm grateful for my personality and my parents and my family, and nature and my community.
Awesome, love it. That takes a lot of courage to come up here. Thank you for having the courage to do that. Love it. It's so good to share our good with people, and the good that we co-created.
So, I most of my adult life, I was always in a relationship, or getting out of a relationship, or getting into, getting out of. And in this last going on 2 years, I haven't been in a relationship, and that has been really just very amazing and self-affirming, and that there's nothing missing, that there's nothing wrong, and so and I just have, I think, more self-like and self-love than I've ever had. So yeah, and I attribute that to just all my spiritual practices and yeah, just this feeling of wholeness within myself. And then something really cool that just happened that you're aware of, that I, for years, I've been picking up food from restaurants and donating it to places that need it. And so we've had a shift, and we're going to be doing it with the church, with the 501c, because it has to be a nonprofit that has to be connected with it. And so now we can do it, with the church too. And so if anybody is interested in finding out about that, that we can get food to different places that need it. So,
awesome.
So it's growth in that area.
Yes. Your growth is all of our growth. Thank you, Michelle.
Here's another one from online from Annie Johnson. I'm grateful that I was able to create the space for healing in our family through our son, brother, cousin, Rich, through his end-of-life experience.
Yes, and Cassie, did you want to share anything?
I left my paper. I'm really grateful for opportunities for service that I've had that have been stretches, and knowing that, once I learn something, I can use it anywhere. And as soon as I do, those opportunities show up.
Nice. A lot of stretching. How much gratitude comes from the stretching? It doesn't come from the comfort, but the stretching, right? Was there anyone else? I was going back up. How does that feel? Yeah, and I want you to keep this going, harvesting our good. And the reason why we're doing this is not only the power of gratitude, but the power of where our attention goes. That these good things happen because our attention is allowing for them to happen. We're not creating it. The good already exists. Right now, in this room, in your heart, all the good that has ever been and ever will be, already it exists. It just requires us to be aware of it, to consciously recognize it. And the more we've done that, and that's why we're looking at this past year, look at the places where we put our attention and how it has blessed us. In different ways, it's different for everybody, but it has blessed us, yeah? So this is what we're doing. We're harvesting our good. We're going to spend our week harvesting our good, yeah? Yes. And the other invitation, I think it's a requirement, is when you go on into the rest of your day, celebrate yourself. Like, just unequivocally celebrate who you are, because you are a blessing to yourself and to everyone who knows you. And it doesn't do anyone any favors for you not to celebrate yourself. So you're going to go celebrate yourself today, okay? All right, let's pray. You ready? Thank you, online people, for sharing too. It was wonderful to hear your voice. And so it is with great joy that we do actually begin every one of our prayers with the recognition that there is only one power, one presence, not two. Only one. Only one. Not three, not four. It expresses in uniqueness in infinite ways, but behind all of the infinite expressions, there is only this one infinite power and presence. And it is in, through, and as all creation. It is through the vastness, and it is through this specific particular, through every atom and cell, the fullness of the cosmos pours itself through. And that each and every one of us is a vehicle of the cosmos pouring itself through and as itself into creation through us, through our conscious awareness of who and what we are as this cosmic entity. Not our individual self, but our collective I amness moving through each of us. And we have the empowered choice every day to where we want to give our thanks, where we want to fully feel in our hearts and our bodies and our minds, thank you, thank you, thank you for everything in my life. Thank you, even for the things that don't seem to be working, but I know the divine presence and power is behind that. Thank you. I see the divine presence in everything that is unfolding. I see the divine presence, and I am so grateful the power that I have to choose to see the one power and the one presence. That I don't have to follow and be a victim to anything that's happening in this world, ever. That I get to choose every moment of every day from my heart, from my mind, from my body, from my soul, that the divine presence, this infinite love intelligence, is everything. It is everything. And the more we do this, as we are doing it right now, as we feel it right now, we feel it in every atom and cell of our being, we feel the infinite good that cannot be described, that cannot be measured, that cannot be defined or limited, that is beyond our human comprehension and human concept. But we know it, we feel it for the very essence of our being, because we are it. We are it. And we stand in that oneness here and now. We stand in the I amness of our beingness that is alive, awake, and aware, full of joy and enthusiasm, that nothing can ever diminish who and what we are. Nothing can ever diminish who and what we really are. Nothing can ever diminish ever who and what we really are. We have those difficult challenges, those clouds, and they hurt and they might be painful. But that's not the end of the story. That's just a part of this vast oceanic presence. And we keep our attention on the vast oceanic presence of that love that knows no limit, that love that knows no condition, that love that is our very life and our very breath. And so for this and as this good that is right here and right now, fulfilled in this moment as each and every one of us, our life is the fulfillment already. It's not something just in the future. It's right here and right now. It's already fulfilled. I celebrate and I give thanks. I celebrate and I give thanks for every individual in this community, for the entire planet, but we're going to focus on this community for now and just say thank you, thank you, thank you for everyone who's touching each other's lives through coming here on a Sunday morning, through being online, through being in classes. We are a blessing to one another and are forever changed and more fully who we are because of each other. We thank you. We thank the one. We are the gratitude. And so in this deep and abiding gratitude, I let this word be now. We let this word be now. We let it all go in deep abiding joy, knowing it truly is already done. And we say together, and so it is.
I walk in God in all